evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Report After Dark. I am your host, Seven. With me is my partner in crime, the biggest asshole at pinfall. Let's give it up for Jan Ward, everybody.
Tone, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, buddy, man. Good to have you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
For those of you listening after and watching in the morning, because you probably went to bed at a regular time because you have healthy mental stability, thank you for joining us after the fact. Sorry about the technical issues last week and not being able to do an episode, but we got everything worked out. Dan lives in basically the middle of nowhere. Like, it's just cornfields all around him. And so it takes a second for good internet to get there.
By technical issues, the translation of that is I'm a dirtbag and don't pay my internet bill.
But I'm glad you got it taken care of.
Yes.
But tonight we are going to talk about what we were going to talk about last week, cheating in baseball. There's some interesting things you're going to go over because you and I have talked about this a little bit before, and I think it's a good combo. This kind of inspired, week and a half ago, Field of Dreams game, which was done very, very well. And that opening, it was like a movie in and of itself. Like, the MLB actually just got that right.
They did, 100%. I loved it. Obviously, I'm from Nebraska, so I love the out of the corn thing. That was
so good.
Dudes in the outfield thinking, these West Coast guys thinking they can just eat corn off the stalk because that's how it comes. That's hilarious because it doesn't.
That was so good.
It's not meant to just be coming right off there like that, but they were eating it. Fantastic. No, they did a really good job. And obviously, the end of that game, right before Tim Anderson.
Okay. Keep going. You're good.
Who was that?
Okay. She's, I'm sorry. No, Punt. My bad. I'm so sorry, Punisher. Hi, Punisher. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I see the K. At least you guys are sisters. You're going to beat me up.
What is her name, Tony?
It's Punisher. She is the one. She co-hosts Double XP with Kay, the one that helps produce sometimes on some of the shows.
Probably seen her on one of these, right? Because I watch them all the time. So probably.
Yeah.
Hello,
you see her.
Hello, Punisher.
Thank you. But yeah, no.
It's Tony getting called out. Right, go.
I don't know what I'm doing. No. Cheating in baseball, because the Field of Dreams touches on the 1918 Chicago White Sox, the Black Sox as they are called, for fixing the World Series against the New York Yankees. So I thought it was kind of interesting. They got that ninth inning walk-off win in the Field of Dreams game against the Yankees. Just that beautiful Tim Anderson stroke. Just like you said, like he steps up to the plate, like that dude can end a game. And
he just hit it with one fucking swing. And what does he do with the next pitch? The first pitch he takes. Just opposite end of the corn. Children of the corn. Children of the Nebraska-Iowa corn. It's beautiful.
Man, I would dive into that corn to get that ball. That is something that is historic. Like, people would pay money for that ball. Like, that's
Tony, something tells me that you've always wanted to run backward through a cornfield, but we'll just go through that at a different.
I mean, just depends on how much butter I got. I'm gonna get weird. Get weird right.
Else and everything is.
But okay, so let's talk about like cheating in baseball. Like, and I think, and this is a relevant term right now, especially because what happened with the Astros, 2017, or it was 2018, the sign stealing.
17, not cheating, not playing.
Yeah, 17. And there's been like this. There's been every once in a while. There's just something in baseball with cheating, like. We'll start with the White Sox fixing the World Series, but a lot of people don't really talk about why they did that.
Well, I mean, the most amazing thing to me, and you led me right into it, was like the most amazing thing to me is those 1918 teams, there was still enough bribe money to outrule these guys' contracts at that point, right? Okay, so these guys just had more money. They could literally offer these guys 3 or 4 years salary to throw a couple of games, and that's doable, right? Okay, You can't do that now. There's not. God doesn't have enough money to outpay some of these dudes in the NFL and Major League Baseball. He really doesn't. Like God ain't outpaying Patrick Mahomes to throw games. He got a $500 million. Patrick Mahomes will never fucking throw a game for the Kansas City Chiefs in his life. $500 million.
Really quick.
Enough.
No, you're right.
Throw it up there.
Parental advisory. Let's just throw that out there now. No, and that's the thing. You're right, because like I was looking at this and I was doing research on that, and there was not a players union back then. There was no players union back then. So the owners had full control. One of the reasons where the Black Sox name originally came from was not from from fixing the World Series. It was actually because there was a period they were protesting against the owner of the White Sox at that point, because he was making them pay to get their own uniforms washed. And so they stopped washing their uniforms. So they got all grimy and dirty, and that's where the Black Sox name came from.
I did not know that.
No, I thought that was interesting. But like he was a scumbag owner. He wasn't paying his players, and that was a problem around the league at that point. Is these guys were making very little money, even for that time, to play hundreds of games a year, sleep on the bus, sleep in crappy hotels, not get to take a shower but once a week, never see their families, and we're just paying them nothing.
A lot of them worked jobs when they were during homestands. They would have unionized jobs, like they'd be part of the union outside of baseball. And they would do like construction jobs and stuff like that. So these guys are working 9-hour days for shit money, and they're going to play for this team for shit money, even though they clearly see the amount of money that these people are taking in is more than they get paid, right? So there's like that. I mean, that obviously is what is the catalyst for the union at that point. Like, I don't know how much further the union formed after that, but I don't think it was very long. I don't think it took very long after that.
And I don't think it did either, because I also learned that the Black Sox scandal, if you will, with the game fixing of the World Series, that was actually what started the process that would create the commissioner of baseball position. Because when the eight players were indicted, the judge that presided over the case was a U.S. court judge, and the owners loved what happened and how everything was handled so much that they were going to create a panel. It was going to be a 3-person panel that was going to oversee Major League Baseball. And he said he would take the position of leading that, but it wasn't a 3-person thing. He had unilateral powers. He had total control. And his first act as commissioner of baseball was to ban those 8 players from the Chicago White Sox from ever being it was indefinite suspension. Basically, they were banned in 1921 from ever being around baseball again.
Right.
And one of the things that I think is interesting, like in the case with Shoeless Joe, there is, even now, after all this time, all the writings, everything, all the research been done, there has never been a single shred of evidence that Shoeless Joe did anything to throw games in that series.
Right.
Yet Shoeless Joe was one of the 8 that was banned because Shoeless Joe got $5,000. And what happened was, Shoeless Joe had nothing to do with it. What happened was the players that were in on it told the bettors, or told the people that were paying him off, that he was, so that they could get more money out of him.
Tweeting the deal. And
they told Shoeless Joe that it was already a done thing because enough guys were doing it, and they were just giving him the money that he was going to get, that he was getting anyway. And he got $5,000. They had originally told him he was going to get 20. He only ended up getting 5, and he was still banned from baseball.
Put yourself in 1918, one of those other 7 players. You're not Shoeless Joe Jackson. You're a no-name player. You have a day job when you're home. You have a union job. You're getting paid shit for all these hours, and you're making all this money, and you can clearly see it. It's been going on for years. Do you take money to throw the 1918 World Series?
I mean, it's. I know it's been said everybody's got their price, and given their situation, like, knowing what I know about the time and everything like that, like, I can't say I would like to say that I'm, with my, my integrity, I would say no. I definitely could. I just honestly, I can see why it happened.
Think about Martha.
And I can't say gotta think about Martha. Like I can't say that I wouldn't. Like, I mean, especially given the entire situation, when you look at it with why the players were willing to accept that money, because they weren't getting paid shit. The owners were pocketing everything. They were even paying a lot of their own expenses, like laundering their freaking uniforms, paying for their own hotel rooms, like, and getting crap money on top of it. Like, I can't, for the life of me, be like, and that's one of the things you have to look at with why these players did this. Like, the why is important. And when you look at the situation, like, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you just being like a cook at a restaurant, and your boss is just fucking you over, making hand over fist, blah, blah, blah. And you're making, you're doing a good job or whatever. And somebody comes to you and says, hey, I just want you to mess this one banquet up. Just mess this one banquet thing up. I'll give you what you make in a month. I'm taking that all day. But the thing is, obviously, we don't work jobs that are that high profile and that have that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not that kind of money behind what we do. But, like, if you're saying that on a daily basis to, like, some of these guys who have day jobs on top of being a professional baseball player, yeah, there's integrity, but everybody has their price. You said it. Everybody has their price.
It's not that. And the other thing when you have to look at it with these guys is they're seeing all of this money go to the owner that's not trickling back down to them. They're making the owner this money. And then they've got families at home that are going without. You come to a point, like, as a man, like we're I do this podcast, First Generation Dad, on Thursday nights with the host of Sports Report, Will. Talking about stuff that, the pressure that dads face, like, especially back in 1918, you were the only provider for your family. And now you're going to be out playing baseball, making shit money for an owner that doesn't care, that treats you like crap. And your family has to go without so that you can play this game for them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, at some point, a man's going to break on that. And I like I said, I can't blame him.
No, not at all.
I just can't, all right, so we're going to continue this. It's about time for a break. We're going to continue this here when we come back, and we'll talk more about shooting in baseball, because there's definitely more to uncover in this topic. So stick with us, and we will be right back.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Welcome back. So that first commercial was for Drop the Mic, new podcast on Pinfall, to every other Tuesday at 10 Eastern, featuring the Punisher and Josh talking all things music. It's a great show. You should definitely check it out. The second podcast was Really Good Podcast. That airs on the alternate Tuesdays that Drop the Mic does not, at 10 Eastern. And that is featuring Josh and Kay as they dive into all things TV and movie related. A lot of nostalgia going on. Great show. Definitely check it out. And of course, a big shout out to repsports.com and Raise Energy for sponsoring the Pinfall Network. Make sure to use the discount code GGN10 for a 15% discount. That shows them that you appreciate them supporting us and supports us as well. So let's dive back into talking about She 11 baseball. So let's talk about Shoeless Joe specifically, because obviously.
Can I stop you real quick?
Okay.
Can we just point out that a really good podcast is a very clever name? Do you get
it? No, it is. It is.
Tony, do you get it? Okay, so it's a reel, like an old film, okay? They used to have reels on them. There was 2 reels that they would run between, or several.
Right.
And you have to switch them out. Okay, I'm mansplaining now.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
you are mansplaining.
Get it? I'm just making sure that you get the. Okay.
Are you mansplaining like that guy that was the Brewers the Brewers Cardinals game? That was so great. What those announcers did to him. Oh my god.
Just slaughtered him. Like,
just
you got to throw him the curve, and she is just not into it. Like, clearly visibly not into it. Like, from a bystander's point of view, not into it. And he is just.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I threw like a curve in high school. Fun. Yeah, no, it's hilarious. I love that stuff.
God. Oh man, it is like a Paul Walker level crash and burn.
Sure, I've been that guy before though too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we all have at some point.
I've been that guy for sure. I've been that guy more often than none. You know what I'm saying? Like more often than most dudes. Like I feel like I'm
who amongst us? I mean, yeah, come on. Like we've all been just
playing a thing now. Yeah, it's weird. It took me 32 years to figure it out. 32 years took me to figure this shit out. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, so, like, and with Shoeless Joe, like we were talking about before the break, there's never been any evidence. Like, he hit 356 for the series. No, 351 for the series, a career 356 hitter. No errors. The series only home run. So there's clearly, like, you don't play that good. And, I mean, like,
sucks it.
If he was, I was saying, yeah, like, how do you play that good?
He sucks at that second thing. There's no way you hit 356 in a World Series in any year and be fucking around trying to hit foul balls and shit. Like, no, I just struck out. I don't know what happened. Like, no.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I just hit 356 still. I don't know.
And that's the thing, is he the third best career batting average in MLB history? Behind is Ty Cobb and Hank Aaron. There's Ty Cobb and one other person that are ahead of him.
Not Hank Aaron.
It's no, I thought that was bad as soon as this. It's somebody else, I can't remember. But clearly the best, one of the best hitters, and we're gonna get to Pete Rose in a second because that's just fucking annoying. Clearly one of the best hitters to ever touch a baseball diamond. Do you think that the league should finally at least let Shoeless Joe in?
Yes. What? How are all of his accomplishments just negated due to the fact that he might have cheated in one World Series? What the fuck are you talking about? That he didn't. This isn't like, it is a game, okay? But this isn't easy stuff to do. It's not like he was just going out there like they're discounting his entire career due to this decision because he wasn't getting made enough money. That doesn't mean that he's not a Hall of Famer. It doesn't.
And I think that you could, even if you wanted to be the league and not look like you're, backing off and being lenient, you put up a solid Hall of Fame display of the 1919 White Sox, and you just make sure that front and center is Shoeless Joe. Like, that's the focal point of it.
Right.
You just have that display. And I think that even if you do that, to at least give him something in the Hall of Fame, he deserves it. Like, at this point, I don't see why there isn't. I don't get it.
It's ridiculous, and it's literally just a moral high ground that everyone's going to take on it about him. Oh, he cheated, Tony. Oh my God, he cheated without any actual preparation on the conversation at all. They have no idea what that guy was going through. But like you said, he probably didn't even cheat. Like, he got paid for the cheating because he made it look good, probably. Like, he made it look really good. He was like, oh, out there hitting 356, like, oh, nobody's cheating here. Here's $5,000, Shoeless Joe. Like, You're fine. You're actually really good. You actually made it like look close and stuff. That was awesome.
I have to say they won the first 2 or 3 games of that series too.
Because some of them weren't trying to lose, and even if with these guys trying to lose, and the other 4 guys trying to win, are your probabilities of winning down? Yeah, but are they nothing? No. With 4 guys out there trying, you can just still slug your way to a win no matter what. That's why you can't fix these games these days. Like, it's actually impossible to fix a real game.
No, and you're right. And that's the thing is, it's just like when people were saying that the ending of the Field of Dreams game was scripted. How are you gonna tell me that you're gonna script a Tim Anderson home run, not just like a double in the gap, a home run off of a 90+ mile an hour pitch to right center, I believe. It was like 380 feet. Yeah.
He hit an 89 mile an hour Zach Britton sinker, like a 2-seamer.
Okay, so I'm sorry. It was
430, but still, 89 mile an hour sinker, 430 feet. Hey, guess what? You can pay him as much money as you would like to pay him, but if he can hit that 10 out of 10 times, 430 feet to right center field, no, not happening. It's not going to happen. He could throw that same pitch again and maybe 2 out of 10 times he hits that to right center field, maybe
exactly
out of the ballpark.
Out of 10 pitches, 1 to 2. And that's if you've got somebody almost like the home run derby where if it's somebody we've got the home run derby, it's the same pitch every time, you might get it. I mean, you might be higher numbers, but just like going through a full pitching rotation and an 80 mile an hour 2-seam at some point over the plate where it can be out.
Yeah.
Out of 10 times, to that exact, there's no way. I'm so there, at least that much.
No, there's no way to do it. Outside of what, Tony? You have control. Say in football or in baseball, you have control of you would have to have control, or have everybody bought on the entire side of the field. Is what you'd have to do. You'd have to buy everybody on one side of the field, and then it's going to make it look. It's going to be impossible to make it look not scripted. These guys are not actors. They are athletes. They do not act for a living. They will be terrible at not going 100% during a game and trying to make it look like they are failing at something. Am I wrong?
Exactly.
They will make it look bad. It will not look real. There is nothing to do what these guys do. You have to go 100%.
You have to.
Yeah.
And with the White Sox, let's talk about this here. So you've got a nutsack of an owner that's not paying you very well. You have to pay to get your uniforms washed. When you don't, he takes the uniforms and washes them and takes it out of your pay. And your family's struggling to eat. And also, is at this point, baseball in 1919, baseball is a very public thing.
Right.
It is today what we look at for most sports. The NFL,
yeah.
Everybody was wrapped around the radios and the few televisions that worked, watching these men do it. So you have this insane amount of public pressure.
It's like this game that we had that was ours. It was like one of the first games that we had that was kind of ours. You know what I'm saying? That was our who I honestly don't. Who's the guy who invented baseball? God damn it, I remember his fucking name. I can't think of it right now, but
yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So he's we had this thing that was ours, and it was a game, and we figured out holy shit, this game's awesome. You know what I'm saying? When people who are skilled are playing it, it's so strategical and it's so awesome, and we have this thing that's ours, and people enjoyed watching it because it was just this weird game that we're like, oh goodness, this game that anything new that comes. But this was a whole different thing. And yes, it's very public, and they're making a lot of money off of it. And clearly the owner of the Black Sox is making a fucking killing off of this and is already rich, for one. And he's making these guys do things that are degrading to them. Yeah, 100% I can see that. Is this just a highway to go. No, it's not. It's not.
Like and here's the thing, like we see, we talk about everybody's got their price. Like it's okay to be honest. We're human. Everybody's got their price, but let's also look at the fact that when you're being pushed to your breaking point, that price drops.
Yeah, you're doing
quick.
Dude, those guys did most of that out of spite, bro. It was not about the fucking money to them at that point.
Because it was an equivalent today, like the 30 to 40,000 that most of the guys that were actively involved in the fixing of the game made 30 to 40,000. In the equivalent today, what would be like 1 to 200,000.
Right.
I think it was some of the numbers that I saw. So it wasn't like it was a super dramatic, blow my brains, billionaire-esque type deal.
Right. No.
These guys threw the World Series to spite their ownership for payment of nothing more than, not having to worry about a house payment anymore.
A bunch of gangsters probably bought him some shit and then said, "Hey, we'll give you this on top of that, and you got our protection. You're never gonna you ain't ever gonna have to walk these streets without one of us behind you. You're one of our boys forever. You do this for us. We're gonna make a bunch of money off of it. We'll give you a bunch of money." And they were like, "Fuck yeah, fuck that guy, fuck our owner, fuck all those people. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm doing this for me now." Like,
they probably got treated better by those mob bosses than they'd been treated by the owners that they were playing for.
With more respect, for sure.
Absolutely.
With more respect, for sure. He understood at least what they were worth.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
It is important. And, one of the things that people discount when these type of situations come up, whether it's the fixing scandal with the Black Sox, the doping scandals that come across not just baseball, but all of sports, like it pops up, my boy Lance Armstrong, like all of these things come up, like people never stop to take a look at the why and what's really going on. But we're going to dive into more on this, and especially with some of these other scandals after another quick break, because we started a little late because of technical issues, and so now we're trying to catch back up. But yeah, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this. So stick with us right here on Pinfall. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So that first commercial was for First Generation Dads, which airs right here on Pinfall on Thursdays at 10 Eastern. That is hosted by me and also featuring Will Morgan. Diving into all things dad related. We talk a lot about mental health and importance. Just trying to make each other better trying to make ourselves better for our kids because our kids are going to have to deal with, God forbid Dan has kids. They're going to deal with their kids. We got to make sure that they're prepared so that those kids, have some better influences in their lives.
Tony, I got that tied up. I'm not trying to drag this out. Come on.
Oh, thank God. Okay. The second commercial was for Geek Gauntlet, which airs on Saturday nights live on Twitch. at 9 Eastern, featuring Will and Shaw. And then that comes up on Pinfall on Tuesdays. You can watch it and check it out on all of our different sources. And then, of course, a big shout out to Rep Sports and Raise Energy for sponsoring Pinfall. Make sure to use a discount code on repsports.com. GGN10 saves you 15% on their website. Check out the Strawberry Lemonade Raise Energy drink, limited time flavor, exclusively on their page. All right, so let's look at this cheating baseball thing. So, like, baseball players are humans. Like, can we agree on that? Like, are we on the same page on that one?
Shohei Ohtani might be a robot, but yeah, outside of that, yes.
He's not a robot. He's a demigod.
Most of them are human. Mike Trout looks like he was made in some kind of weird Stanford laboratory. But they're at least biological. Yes, I would agree with that. Go ahead.
Biologically human, right? And so when we hear that somebody's not perfect, Trevor Bauer had some kinky sex. Okay. They okay. And that's why, like, when it came to Pete Rose, so like moving forward to Pete Rose and he getting caught with him gambling. And he gets banned from baseball. Was that really the right response to that? Like, really?
It's just like, I feel like it's so much just to discourage future same actions. You know what I'm saying? Like the same actions happening in the future. I feel like that's why they banned them. Like, no longer do any of your stuff count, because that's the seriousness of this crime, because they don't want it to continue, and they don't want people to take money for Pete Rose. Is a fucking degenerate. He was a degenerate gambler. I'm sure he's a good fucking guy. I think he is a good guy. From everything I've seen, he looks like a pretty decent dude who might have had a gambling problem, and he happened to be a professional athlete. Did he ever bet on his own team? I'll tell you what, if I'm a degenerate and I'm down in the dumps, I will bet on my grandmother to raise from the dead. I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll be like, yes, that's going to happen, right? I mean, literally. So yes, he could have bet it out. He could have bet on himself, but that doesn't mean that it even matters. The next day, he's trying so hard because he just put $1,000 on himself that maybe he goes out and goes 0 for 5. That means nothing towards the end of the game. So I'm not even saying, like, I don't think he even probably bet on himself. I think he was a degenerate. I think he was at the horse tracks. But I don't think he was. Yeah, I don't think he was.
He wasn't. There was never any evidence that he bet for or against himself or his team. It was always other. It was always other games. It was simply because it was baseball. Like, there was never any evidence that he fixed any games or threw any games.
I don't think he did.
And that's the thing, is like, at this point, this long in time, just like with Shoeless Joe, like, if there was evidence, it would exist. We would know it.
Tony, I feel like we need to continue to preface this whole thing with, do you fucking people understand how hard it would be to fix a fucking professional sports game? I'm just going to continue to say that over and over again because I'm always going to lean towards the fact that nobody actually did anything to influence the end of the game, because the components and the intricacy of what is going on in these games is non-replicatable. It is not fucking possible to influence, maybe by a little tiny bit, but that doesn't determine outcome in the slightest. You might give yourself a 51-49 advantage. That's about all you can do. If you get 51-49, I'll give you that. That might be possible. But other than that, there ain't fucking shit that's possible. It's 50-50 down the line, pretty much all the way through.
And that's the thing, is like, it's so hard to do something that dramatic. Like, if we want to talk about things that actually could have had a dramatic impact on games, like the closest, like, because you ban Pete Rose, like, he can't even be in the Hall of Fame for his amazing career as an athlete before he became a coach. He can't even get credit for that in the Hall of Fame. And he was a coach when he was caught gambling. But when we look at the doping scandal, which is where we're going next, like the doping scandal, these guys had more with doing steroids, more of an impact on games than gambling.
100%. Then one guy gambling, yeah, massively.
I don't like A-Rod's eventually going to be in the Hall of Fame. Like it's gonna take a minute, and are we gonna be that ass that he got caught twice, not once, twice, fucking twice. But Pete Rose can't get in the Hall of Fame. Like here's the thing. Let's go and go to the doping in baseball and the doping in sports because I know where we're gonna go with this. I know what you're gonna say. I know. But so let's go to this because doping, though, like, how are we not surprised that happened? Or like, how were we surprised that it happened? Like it was the logical thing that was going to come up at some point. Somebody was going to try and do it.
Okay. If 40 kids playing kickball on a playground, there's like 8 or 10 of them that are the best ones, and you can clearly tell that they're on both teams evenly separated, right? You give those kids a vitamin that makes all of them better, okay? It just makes them better at kicking it further and jumping higher and running faster to get under the ball and all of that stuff. Makes them quicker to react to the balls and all that kind of stuff. You give them all that same vitamin. Those 8 to 10 kids that were the best and got the vitamin too, that were already the best, are still going to be the best kickball players on that playground. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. So everybody in the late 90s, early 90s, late 80s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, probably into the 10s, maybe 15, 2013 area, were doing roids in Major League Baseball. Every fucking one of them. If they wanted to stay competitive and stay on a Major League roster and you weren't just fucking Aaron Rodgers, I look like an accountant, nuts talented, you are shooting testosterone into your butt cheek because that is what you have to do to keep up with the guys who were already better than you and are shooting testosterone into their butt cheeks. Now that we're clear on that, Barry Bonds belongs to the Hall of Fame. Alex Rodriguez
absolutely
belongs to the Hall of Fame. Rafael Carmelo belongs to the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
These are all of Mark McGwire should be a Hall of Famer. Seamus Hudson belongs to the Hall of Fame. These guys were just doing it when everybody else was fucking doing it too. Hey, guess who else was doing roids at that time? Jay Buhner. Remember that name? The right fielder for the Mariners in the late 90s.
Oh,
Jay
okay.
with his bald ass head and his goatee was doing fucking shooting roids right up his butthole. All right? Guess what? Jay Buhner hit 215. He had like a year where he hit 30 home runs. Can't hit or play the outfield. He just shot steroids into his asshole, and he hit 30 home runs. This is different. Barry Bonds had what we look at it. We looked at it the other day, dude. 1,300 plus OPS, 3 straight seasons. 1,300 OPS. What? That's not because his biceps are big. That's not.
Okay, I have. Now we'll go for a couple more minutes before we do last break. So when I look at, when we look at this, like, we want to, and we let's look at A-Rod, because A-Rod is such an interesting case because of how intricate his dopage was, especially the second time when he got caught the second time, like how intricate the system was that he was using to pass tests and still use steroids. He was doing it with doctor supervision.
Oh, 100%. He probably had his own team that he paid on a monthly to weekly basis. That's all they did. I mean, I have a theory, and we won't get into it right now because it'll go on for way too long. But I have a theory about that LeBron James has a fucking medical laboratory somewhere in, like, I don't know, the fucking middle of the Amazon rainforest, where a bunch of scientists, all they do is just figure out ways to pass, like, they just use shit that they can't use in the United States to infuse into his blood, and they have his DNA, and all they do is sit there and study it all day and figure out the ways to make him stronger and faster and bigger until he's out of his, quite literally out of his like human prime for playing a fucking sport. Like literally they're going to try and stretch this guy's fucking prime out like till his mid 40s, like playing basketball.
Right. And the thing of it is like, if we can, first of all, one of the truths that we have to look at with this is that with how intricate that system was, the fact that there were medical professionals involved, and he has not seen, to what we've seen so far in this last, 5-6 years since he got out. It's been almost a decade since he was caught the second time. We're not seeing too many dramatic effects. Now, obviously with Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa, they look a little worse for wear, but it was different then than it was with A-Rod. Right. So now we come to the point where we have the ability to take all of these individuals that have that unique talent and amplify them and be able to observe it. This can give us the ability to use these things on normal people. Right. People that have fibromyalgia, all of a sudden, a couple of injections and their nerve pain stopped and they can function like normal.
Right.
And we know exactly what dose based on their body weight to do, because we used it studying athletes that just want to be able to get to prime human condition. Like, why is that not something we're behind? That's my question.
I've read a lot about synthetic testosterone and its effects. I mean, Tony, you may have talked about this. I did synthetic testosterone when I was in college. I took the pills. It was, and you know what? It was freaking fantastic. Here's the thing. I was getting that energy out somehow though, right? I got 2 days. I'm in the middle of working out for a football team at that point, right? So I'm getting this energy out of me. I'm getting this extra testosterone that I don't really need. I'm getting it out of me at least though, right? So like it becomes an issue of people like, hey, well, you're going to, somebody's going to freak out and get angry because they're, roid rage, that kind of shit. That's from dudes that are just, they got the girl muscles, you know what I'm talking about? They just go into the gym and they pump their biceps and they do steroids to get the look, and they don't actually run that energy out of their bodies, because that's the thing. Mm-hmm. You have to wear yourself out at that point. Right. And then it's fine. It's fine. It's an overload. You feel like you can lift everything in the fucking weight room. You do. You feel like you can lift every weight in there, and you can't. But you have to get it out.
It's just like when it comes to like using workout supplements. Like for those, like I used to do it when I was younger. I certainly don't have the interest in using any of that shit now. But like we would do like the workout shakes, like the muscle milk and the creatine stuff.
Yeah.
Like all that was doing was amplifying those things in your body to get yourself into prime condition to lose weight, develop mass, whatever the product was for.
Right.
So, but if you take those, like if you slam a protein shake and drink a bunch of fucking creatine and then go sit down and play video games, you're going to snap 3 fucking controllers inside of 20 minutes.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Tony, I took all that stuff. I know exactly what you're talking about, the creatine and all that stuff. The whey protein and all that stuff. Yeah. I took all that stuff and nothing even close to compares to just straight testosterone. Just taking it in your stomach.
I agree, but
I know exactly what you're saying. So like imagine that, yes, amplified. Like if you're gonna go take that creatine and that shit and go sit on your ass, imagine that amplified by 10 times. And that's where this bad name comes from, is because these fucking idiots go in and do like, 100 reps of bicep curls because they want to look good for the chicks, and then they leave and they get angry. It builds up inside of them because you need to get that out. That's primal energy that you're fucking feeding into yourself, basically.
So there was one of the reasons why I've gotten more active in the last year. I was having some health issues and some different problems, and I got blood work done. And one of the things that I asked about was my testosterone. I mean, I'm in my mid-30s. That's when shit starts to go weird for us. So you never know. Like, and it wasn't like I was having any like keeping it up problems. Like there was some different issues with the way my mental health was going. I was curious if there was a deficiency there, and that was what was causing some of my problems.
Well, it's it's not even just like people immediately think libido and shit. It's such a huge component in our biology.
For biological men, like it has that. It's a lot of what we do, just like estrogen for women.
Exactly.
And so, like for example, like I thought it was really funny. There was an episode of Big Bang Theory where Howard had been putting estrogen cream on his mom, and he wasn't wearing gloves, and so he got super emotional and was crying and having all of these mood swings and stuff because he was getting exposed to this basically raw estrogen hormone.
Right.
And like it's the same thing. Like I mean, we have examples in today's society where we can understand what's really going on with these guys and what that really means. And if you don't get that out, obviously there's going to be a problem. But if you've got a medically supervised program, I don't see why you can't use that as information for how we can push human evolution and also maybe help some people become active that couldn't. They're not going to go to the Olympics, but maybe they can have the dignity of doing their own fucking grocery shopping.
Yeah. So when people think synthetic testosterone or steroids, that's the first thing that comes to mind is like they think that people are building this muscle on top of other muscles or making these muscles bigger, right? That's not the case. Testosterone repairs your muscles. So when you go out and lift and you get that burn, that is your muscles obviously in need of repair. And all synthetic testosterone is going to do is repair those muscles quicker. And so in theory, that could literally be used at a certain, obviously you're going to have to go through the dosage levels to certain people and everything like that. But that it's just repairing your muscles. It's not building, it's not making you bulky. It's not making your fucking nuts small. These are all just preconceived, ridiculous antidotes. They're
right.
All it's doing is repairing your muscles faster so that you can continue to. So yes, do you build muscle? 100%, because your muscles are ready to build. They're already completely repaired and back up, ready to fully re-energize when you start to work out again. That's the only thing this stuff does, right? And that would be a huge advantage. But it doesn't help you play an NFL wide receiver. It doesn't help you hit a baseball. It doesn't help you.
Oh, you know what? Okay, we seem to have lost again. We need to take a quick break anyway, do our last break. So stick with us. We will be right back.
No one pulls up like we do. No one does us like we do. Always go hard with this crew. Welcome to the show, let's make moves. Nothing's gonna stop us, it's not to get rough. Turn the whole room up, it's never enough. Let's go, 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 let's go.
All right, so Dan still seems to be having some technical issues, but we are going to truck right through here and finish up, and I'll kind of go through where we're going to go with this. So there are so many things that we can do with this because, we talk about the game of baseball. Let's even leave all the other sports out of this. The game of baseball. We talk about the need for baseball to step it up, to improve, to, make the game more engaging. If you're going to have me there for 3 hours, give me a reason to stay for the full 3 hours. Consistency, better calls from the umps, getting rid of guys like Angel Hernandez, the problems with the leadership and commissioners and stuff like that. Like there's a whole lot of things that we can talk about that would improve baseball. But if we make it to where these guys that day to day consistently top players hitting 315, 325. Give them the ability to have a supervised regimen, of substances that can help them develop. And we go from seeing these guys hitting 315, 325 now. Oh, okay. Now we're getting 385. Oh, we have somebody that has a 410 season. You know, we have a pitcher that's throwing we have a pitcher that throws 110 mile an hour fastball. Do you imagine Randy Johnson at his prime with some steroids to help his arm? Good God, that man would, like that pigeon, Randy Johnson hitting that pigeon, taking like steroids, throwing 110 mile an hour fastball, like that would have been.
Is it out of the question that Randy Johnson ever took steroids? I mean, yeah.
That's a relevant question.
6'10". You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there is a stereotype. Obviously, Mark McGwire's neck literally turned into like, you know, Heath Ledger's face in Dark Knight, like that kind of stuff. Like his neck, because it literally stretched out so much, so fast.
Right.
Like I have stretch marks on my on my side from gaining so much, and it was just literally just weight. You know what I'm saying? Like way too much, real quick. And that's with way too much, taking like way too much of it. Like there's, you know what I'm saying? Like obviously, like we talked about, it should be regulated. But at the same time, like if it's just regulated, and why are we not to repair people's muscles? Why are we? It's just repairing the muscles.
Think about, especially some of these guys. Like imagine what something like this. If this is going to be helping repair, imagine what that could do. Like CTE.
Right.
Like if we give these guys extra testosterone because they're doing so much more and they're using so much of their own testosterone to get through the actual competition, what's the problem in giving them the ability to replenish that and allow their bodies to heal quicker so that we don't have Dak Prescott wasting $45 million of the Dallas Cowboys cap?
Right. If it's done in a scientific medical manner with professionals, what is the big issue? If we know we're not risking people's lives here. We're just kind of playing with the genome. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's because like when you look at like Captain America, the story of Captain America, the origin of Captain America, the super soldier serum. Okay.
Meth,
right? And there has been these attempts within the scientific community, especially within the human engineering sciences and biology and stuff like that, like trying to see if this was something that was actually creatable. I've been working on it, not just during World War II, like it's been for a long time. Like that's just been a thing. And now we're going to look at something that actually, I mean, not as dramatic as what we saw happen to Steve Rogers, but has the ability to give people the ability to heal quicker. And so now we get NBA players like LeBron and AD that can go until they're 45 without a problem. AD is able to rely on his knees and do what he needs to do, the player that he can be.
Right.
I don't see where it's a downside. It's like I said, regulate it. Every player has the same access.
Yes. Yeah. You just have to have it. If you want to do it, then do it. I mean, obviously that's going to set a precedent of if you don't do it, you don't really compete. But it's going to force players into doing it. But at the same time, like I don't know how many of them aren't going to want to do it when they realize the benefits of it.
I mean, and that's the thing is we're going to get guys like, we're going to see a couple of guys go from like 315, 325 to probably stroking over 400. Okay. But we're also going to see guys that are hitting, but we're not going to see and maybe not that huge of a change. Okay. So maybe 325, 360. Okay. That's a little bit more reasonable. So maybe we see that, but we're going to see less guys hitting like down around the Mendoza line or below it, which nobody wants to see.
Tony, honestly, you're right, and I'd like to see but I'd like to see the statistics behind whether average in Major League Baseball went up at all during the steroid era, or was it just exit velo and home runs? Because I think it was just mostly exit velo and home runs. Because average wise, hitting the ball hard everywhere doesn't help you. Like, play slow pitch softball.
No,
average wise, you don't hit the ball. If you crush the ball everywhere, you're going to fly out a lot in slow pitch softball, right? But like, if you just crush the ball everywhere, unless you can just hit it, hit it. But outside of that, I don't think it really helps that much average wise. Like I said, it doesn't help you be able to hit a baseball. To be
well, but I mean, the reason why I could see it impacting the average is that's going to turn a few of those flies that were going to be flies before into home runs. So you'll see that tick up a little bit. But also, instead of it being a infield fly, it's in the hole. There's going to be, or in a gap. Right. There's going to be some. I think you see some type of an uptick. I don't think and maybe maybe say from going 315, 325 to over 400 is dramatic. I'll give you that. But I think 315, 325 going 350, 360 with that's not unreasonable, I don't think.
But on the other side of it, think about how many of those balls that these dudes are going to crush, 118 exit velo, and they're going to get caught by an outfielder because they hit it right at them, when if they just would have slapped it out there, would have went right over the third baseman's head and just landed for a single. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So how much more of that's taken away because they're hitting liners? Like, I understand that stuff going faster and harder, you're right, is going to naturally uptick the batting average a little bit. But its influence as far as, like, I don't know if it's that much. Because you still got to hit the baseball for one, which is one of the hardest things to do in sports, period.
Right, yeah.
And then, but you're just hitting it harder. So, yes, it's going to naturally uptick it a little bit. So, yes, there's a little bit of an advantage there, but I just don't know how much it's going to be. I don't know. 40 points, definitely probably not. I don't think it's going to be that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it'll be a small uptick, but we saw the small uptick. I mean, we saw the offensive explosion, late 90s, right. But that's a lot of home runs. It's a lot of home runs. I would like to see the numbers on that to see if the average actually went up during that time, because I doubt it did.
I think that, because, and I was reading an article about that, and I think it did. Like, it wasn't a lot. And I think the article talked about it because one of the things that they were talking about, it was an article that was just talking about, like, improving baseball. And one of the things that they mentioned was, like, especially like with the deadening of the balls, like improving, the league, like the league does better when the average batting average is higher. And it was higher during the steroid eras. Right. And it may be, and like I said, 260, maybe it went to 285 instead of 260. But
also clearly chicks dig the long ball. I mean, chicks dig the long ball.
It's the dunking of the NBA.
Absolutely.
If you have a solid dunker, if you have a solid dunker or two on your team that can make those, not just dunk it, but make it look good.
Right.
Like, you're going to sell more tickets.
Right.
You're going to have, and even if you have just an average team, you're going to sell more tickets. And so when, the Yankees trying to get more money back into that organization, they have 5 power hitters that just crack, just dingers all day.
Bunch of Vince Carters just out there dribble penetrating and fucking reverse slamming.
Yeah.
Windmills. That's all they're doing. They can't shoot a lick. But they're just going windmill on everybody. Like, that's what they're going to try and do. It's just going to be a dunk competition. It's going to be like that old game that they used to have on True TV with the dudes in the fucking trampolines and the pads. What was that?
Slam ball?
Slam ball. Loved that shit.
I love slam ball. That shit was amazing.
That's what it's going to be like. They're playing slam ball. That's it.
They're playing slam ball. All right, man.
Go fucking Yankees.
Go fucking Yankees. All right. So let's wrap it up. So other than go fucking Yankees, you got anything else? Any final thoughts?
It's a good week, Tom. Just keep it up.
Don't forget to like and follow all of our social medias. We have a lot of shows on Pinfall, a lot of content. Make sure to tell your friends. Please share our stuff. We greatly appreciate that. I will see everybody Thursday night on First Gen Dads. Dan will see everybody next Monday on the Sports Report. Have a good night, everybody.
See you guys.
Where did that go?